This is what I'm going to show you today, folks. Abu GRACIA Eradicator Real Finesse. This is the exact model. It's called the Slow Taper Special, and a long model number here. It's a 6'7" super ultralight torzite guides. It says that it's designed for lures 0.1 to 10 grams. I really doubt the 10 grams. And line from 0.6 to 3 pounds. That one I agree with. Now, I bought this rod after watching a YouTube video from Randy the Trout Magnet Man. If you're into ultralight fishing, you probably know his channel already. But if you don't, I highly recommend you check his channel. I will leave a link to his review in my description box. Especially if you're interested in high-end ultralight fishing. There is very little, if any, information available in English outside of his YouTube channel. When I watched his review, I could tell he was really excited, and it takes a lot to get Randy excited, because if you see his inventory of high-end ultralight rods, he has some good stuff there. I'm pretty sure nobody else has a better inventory of ultralight rods, at least here in the United States. But he was really fascinated with this rod, and I really trust Randy's judgment on when it comes to high-end ultralight stuff. So I decided to pull the trigger on this rod here, and I can already tell you in the intro of my video that I agree with his entire assessment of this rod. And not only that, but because my videos are already too long, I'm not going to repeat anything that he already said. Like I said, I'm gonna leave a link to his review in the description. Please make sure you check his video before you check mine, because what I'm going to do is I'm gonna just give you a close-ups of the rod, show you some additional angles, maybe talk about some stuff that he didn't mention. But I'm not going to go over and repeat everything that he already said. So make sure you check his video, okay? Okay, let's start with the butt end section. I'll give you a close-up of the entire rod, guys, and I'll try not to even comment too much. I'll comment a little bit because I can't help it, but I think it's better that your eyes just see the thing. But definitely on a rod that is so skinny and so light, you will notice a lot of detail. Look at how much detail this tiny butt section has. Abu rod dedicated to your fishing life. Now that one is a little bit lame. If you're gonna write something cooler. The rod handle here, oh my god, all of the cutouts. Blank touch design. Now, to some of you this may seem kind of special, but let me quickly show you. This is the rod that I have my Daiwa Luvias on. Has pretty much the same handle. Not exactly the same, okay, but pretty much the same handle. Yeah, this handle design is not rare for sure. This is, if you care about this rod, this is Browning Airstream, a $40 rod from Bass Pro Shops. I have to say about this rod handle, while I do find the sensitivity of this rod absolutely incredible, I'll keep coming to this point through the entire review, it's not the most comfortable thing to hold. Particularly the cutouts, they do not feel comfortable. I really want a handle design that keeps the sensitivity, but it's not so fragmented. Here is the model again, Eradicator Real Finesse. And the name of this model is the Slow Taper Special. Long model number here. It is a 6'7" rod. It is super ultralight. So one level lower than ultralight. Definitely a level lower in power than anything I have. And then we're transitioning from blingy blank to simple carbon blank. You will see here it says made in China with the smallest font in the world. I mean, I'm zoomed in and you still can't read it, but that's what it says. Moving on to the first guide here. I know the inserts are torsite, but is the frame steel or titanium? I honestly don't know. I paid all this money. I don't know. I do like the design of these guides. They are sexy. I mean, come on. This is my favorite guides design. My only problem is this is my pinky and it will not go through the first guide. My pinky needs to go through the first guide. Moving forward to the connection, it doesn't seem that the connection surface over here is treated. I mean, it looks like this is just the carbon. I don't even know if it has any kind of coating or treatment on top. It looks like the rod is going right on top of the carbon. And it does fit nicely, but I don't know, if you assemble and disassemble this all the time, maybe there will be wear here. So I definitely don't plan on assembling and disassembling this rod. I'm disassembling it now just for you guys. Otherwise, I keep it one place, extreme care during transportation, but I do not assemble and disassemble this rod all the time. Now let's come back to the guide size. Now, this is again the Daiwa Presso. Daiwa Presso, look, my thumb goes through the first guide. Okay, my pinky, no problem. This one again, my pinky will not go through the first guide. Here are the top guides of the two rods. I have the tips right here. By the way, both rods are 6'6". I think the Abu is 6'7", but they are equally long. But let's compare these guides again, okay? What do you think is the difference in size between the third guide in each rod? Do you see the Daiwa Presso guide? You can use the Daiwa Presso rod with any line in the world. The line will go through completely silently. You will cast as easy as it is physically possible with any rod. Okay, I think this is a pretty good angle. The guides of this rod, I don't know if they have like 1 millimeter inner diameter opening. I mean, it is just ridiculous. It is, yeah, I think I made my point. No need to reiterate. I'm going to show you a few pictures now so you can see the load curve of the rod. And I think it's interesting because it's advertised as a slow taper special. And I don't find the taper to be that slow. But here is the first picture. This is comparison between the Abu Garcia 6'7" Super Ultralight and the 6'6" Daiwa Presso Ultralight. Here is a view of the setup that I'm using to make sure the two rods are aligned with the same angle. But the first thing I have to tell you is that the two rods actually have different weights under them. The Abu Garcia has 4 ounces of weight and the Daiwa Presso has 7 ounces and 3/4. And I did this because, I mean, one is super ultralight, the other one is ultralight. If you don't put weights to kind of load them to the same extent, it's hard to compare the curves of the two rods. However, if you do load them appropriately, I think the Daiwa Presso and this Abu Garcia rod has almost identical taper. Now here's a comparison between the Abu Garcia and the 6-foot Daiwa Presso rod. Now I've mentioned before that the 6-footer of the Daiwa Presso is softer than all of the longer models. And in this picture actually the Daiwa Presso, the 6-foot Daiwa Presso has only 5 ounces and the Abu Garcia still has 4 ounces. So it still takes a little bit more weight than the Abu Garcia to be loaded very similarly. But the two trajectories here are again nearly identical, only in this case the Abu Garcia rod is a little bit longer. And here's a comparison with the 6'6" Shimano Sensorlight. The Sensorlight has a bunch more weight again to get them to bend relatively similarly. But you can see that the middle section of the Shimano rod is stiffer, and at the same time the tip of the Shimano Sensorlight is softer. So the Shimano Sensorlight definitely has faster action than the Abu rod. However, this is definitely not the rod with the slowest action out there. Here is a comparison with my ACC Crappie Sticks. The ACC Crappie Sticks has a ridiculous 12 ounces loaded here to get it to bend at all. But look at the gorgeous parabolic curve of the ACC Crappie Stick. Definitely much slower action than the Abu Garcia rod. And this is the reason why I have used the ACC Crappie Sticks for carp fishing and catfishing. People think I'm sarcastic, but I actually really do like the blank of the ACC Crappie Sticks. I think it has a beautiful curve. It's just that all of the components on that rod are shitty. The guides are shitty, the connection is shitty, the rod handle is terrible, but the blank is pretty good. When I assembled the rod for first time ever and I lifted it in my hand, I immediately noticed that it doesn't have the magic feeling of my Major Craft Truzer Mebaru rod. I have a review of that rod. I'm going to make sure I link it in the description. But it is obvious that the magic feeling is not here. In the Major Craft rod, you know, when you move it left and right, it's like there is no rod in front of you. It is just completely weightless in front of you. That's how well balanced it is. And also the action or the recovery on that rod, the recovery is pretty fast. It has a very sharp tip. It just has what I call the magic feel. This rod, no magic feel. You know, when you move it around, you will feel the tip. Also, the recovery of this rod is not as fast. There is definitely some wobble. You know, if you whip it, there will be some wobble before it recovers back to perfectly still. However, make no mistake, you can jig just fine with this rod. As a matter of fact, all I'm going to be doing with this rod is jigging. I know based on the taper, based on the load curve of the rod and the recovery time, theoretically the perfect application for this rod would be casting those micro spoons from Japan. But, you know, I don't do that. I plan on, you know, trying this someday in the future, but it's unlikely that this is what I'm going to be doing with this rod. All I'm going to be doing with this rod is twitch trout magnets. And in reality, you know, you don't need a super fast action rod. You don't need a super fast recovery time to do the perfect, you know, twitching of a trout magnet. When Randy was describing this rod, he said this rod is something else, and I really don't know how to better describe the fishing experience with this rod. It is completely different than anything else I have touched, and Randy has touched a lot nicer rods than I have. So when he says that, it really means something, because I mean, the sensitivity, first of all, is just, to be honest with you, I never even cared about sensitivity so much until now. Now I understand that sensitivity can be this huge thing. I mean, the sensitivity with this rod is almost like artificially exaggerated. I caught this tiny bluegill with this rod. And when you get the bite, it's like somebody just pulled the rod out of your hand. It's like artificially exaggerated. And then when you connect with the fish, oh my God, the rod is bending. You saw how little force it takes to bend this rod all the way down to the first guide. I can feel exactly, is it turning? I mean, it's hard to describe with words. really the pleasure and the joy of fighting small fish with this rod is just incredible. And the one problem with this rod is that it's super thin and very likely that the smallest negligence will end in some kind of fracture. But I love this rod so much that if I ever break it, and I think the odds are that I will, but if I ever break this rod, I promise you I will buy another one. I don't want to ever be without one of these rods. But folks, this is why it's so important to go check Randy's channel, because he has dozens and dozens of these amazing rods, and this is the first rod actually that he has that I have purchased. But I am not gonna buy the rest of his rods just so you can see them. I just can't afford it. I would really, love to go buy a few more of them, but I can't afford it, folks. So if these high-end rods are, of interest to you, there is just no substitute for his channel, so make sure and go check it. But I'm about to wrap up this video, but before I do, I'll just show you, my opinion for best reel for this rod. Folks, before I wrap up this video, let me give you a couple of tips on pairing this rod with a reel, because pairing is actually not that easy for two reasons. First, this rod is extremely light, and for that reason you're gonna need extremely light reel to balance well. And second of all, because of this red color here, which to be honest with you I really don't like, but it is what it is there. If you want your reel to have some accents that match that color, your choice becomes really thin. And I think the reel that of everything on the market just matches the weight and whatever the color scheme of this rod the best is this one here. This is Shimano Stragic CI4 Plus. I know Shimano is releasing a new reel right now, Vanford, to replace this reel here. And I think the looks will be very close, and it will be also a very light reel. So I recommend the Vanford to pair with this rod in the future. There is also a JDM version of the Daiwa Tatula. That reel has red accents on the spool and will be a great match for this rod as well. I know Randy paired this rod with an Abu reel with some red colors, and Andy says that reel is some good stuff, and I really trust his judgment on that as well. But in terms of looks, that Abu reel did not connect with me. But this is what's on the market right now that's available for this reel. Honestly, if you get this rod, my advice is don't rush your purchase of a reel and wait for the Shimano Vanford and get that in size 2000 and you should be golden. That's all I had, folks. Thank you for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.